You were not born to be weak. You were not meant to kneel before chaos. A stoic man does not plead for love, nor does he entertain the tyranny of the undisciplined. If she speaks these words, if she drags you into a storm of irrationality, you must walk away. No anger, no bitterness, just quiet, absolute control. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If she pollutes your thoughts, she pollutes your life." Let's begin. 1. It's always about me. A man who walks the path of wisdom understands one fundamental truth: his life is his own. He does not exist to orbit around another person's desires, nor does he allow himself to be consumed by someone else's world. But a woman who constantly makes everything about herself is a dangerous trap, one that will drain your energy, distort your purpose, and slowly strip you of your identity. When every conversation, every problem, and every situation somehow circles back to her, this is not love. It is control. It is the slow erosion of your independence under the weight of her expectations. A stoic man does not fight to be heard in a relationship where he is merely an accessory to someone else's life. He does not beg for space in a world where only one person is allowed to exist. At first, it may seem like she simply has strong emotions, that she needs support, that she's passionate about her own life. But if you look deeper, you will see the pattern. Her needs come before yours. Her emotions dictate your actions, and her struggles overshadow anything you face. When you talk, she listens just enough to find a way to bring the conversation back to herself. When you have a problem, she makes it about how it affects her, rather than how it affects you. This is not an accident. This is a way of controlling the frame of your relationship. She will make you believe that giving more of yourself is the path to harmony, that sacrificing your needs for hers is what a good man does. But a stoic man does not submit to this illusion. He understands that compromise is not the death of his own identity. A relationship is meant to be a partnership, not a one-sided devotion to someone else's world. If she cannot step outside of herself to see you, to truly see you, then you are not in a relationship. You are an instrument of her self-importance. A woman who always makes things about herself will never take responsibility for the imbalance she creates. She will twist words, shift blame, and make you feel guilty for expecting equality. If you try to set boundaries, she will claim you are distant. If you ask for the same consideration she demands, she will say you are unreasonable. Slowly, you will find yourself justifying every action, questioning your own needs, and wondering if you are expecting too much. This is how control works, not through force, but through guilt. A man who does not recognize this manipulation will soon become a shadow of himself, forever walking on eggshells, trying to keep the peace while losing himself in the process. But peace that requires self-betrayal is not peace at all. It is surrender. A man who has mastered himself does not waste time convincing someone to value him. He does not beg for attention, nor does he argue with someone who refuses to see beyond herself. He observes, he recognizes, and then he chooses. When faced with a woman who demands that every moment, every thought, and every emotion must revolve around her, the stoic man does not engage in conflict. He does not try to change her. He does not lower himself to resentment or anger. He simply understands that her world will always be too small for him. And then he leaves, not with rage, not with bitterness, but with quiet, unshakable power. Because a man who values himself does not stay where he is not seen. A man who has walked the path of hardship, who has mastered his mind, knows that there is no honor in staying where he is not respected. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If you allow yourself to remain in an environment that diminishes your worth, you will eventually believe that you deserve it. You do not. You deserve a life that reflects the discipline and strength you cultivate every day. You deserve a woman who sees your value without needing to be reminded of it. You deserve a path that leads to mastery, not self-destruction. A man who is truly strong does not need to announce his power. He does not need to prove himself through argument. He simply knows, and when he knows, he walks away. 2. I'm busy right now. There is a truth that a man of wisdom must accept. No one is ever truly too busy. People make time for what matters to them. When a woman tells you, I'm busy right now, more often than not, what she really means is, you are not a priority. A man of value does not chase. He does not sit around waiting for someone to grant him a moment of their attention. He understands that time is the one thing in life he will never get back. Wasting it on someone who does not respect it is a silent act of self-betrayal. At first, it may seem innocent. She tells you she has work to do. She's tired. She needs space. And that is understandable. Life does not revolve around any one person. But when it becomes a pattern, when every attempt you make to connect is met with the same excuse, you must ask yourself, if she had the same interest in you that you have in her, would she still be this busy? We both know the answer. A woman who values you will make time stay you even in the busiest days. She will find a moment to check in, to acknowledge you, to let you know that you matter. She will not leave you wondering where you stand, nor will she expect you to accept crumbs of attention while she prioritizes others. A man who lacks self-respect will try to justify it. He will tell himself that she really is overwhelmed, that he just needs to be patient, that if he waits long enough, she will make room for him. But patience is not the answer when respect is absent. When a man values himself, he does not beg for someone's time. He does not sit by the phone, hoping that today will be the day she remembers him. He sees the truth for what it is. And the truth is this: effort is a reflection of interest. If a woman is always too busy, she's making a statement without saying it directly. She does not see you as a priority. She does not think your presence is important enough to adjust her schedule. She assumes that you will always be there, waiting, no matter how little she gives. That assumption is a test. A man who does not respect himself will fail this test. He will keep waiting, accepting the smallest gestures as proof of love, ignoring the clear reality that he is being placed at the bottom of her priorities. But a man who has mastered himself, he does not wait. He does not argue. He does not ask for more. He simply recognizes the situation for what it is and walks away. Because a man of discipline and power does not beg for space in someone else's life. He creates a life so full, so purposeful, that those who fail to see his value are left behind. A strong man does not need to be told twice that he is not wanted. He understands that his time is too precious to waste on someone who does not appreciate it. If a woman is too busy for you now, she will be too busy for you always. And when the day comes that she realizes what she lost, when she finally looks around and sees that you are no longer waiting, it will be too late. Not because you are punishing her, not because you are bitter, but because you have moved on. Because the man who values himself knows one thing with absolute certainty: if someone cannot make time for him, he will never waste another second on them. A man who is firm in his mind and strong in his discipline does not waste his most valuable resource, his time, on anyone who does not respect it. There is no greater insult to a man of purpose than being treated as an afterthought. If she always has an excuse, if she always pushes you to the side, if she expects you to wait, while she gives her time freely to others, then the message is clear. And when you see the truth, do not fight for her attention. Do not argue for your place. Do not demand what should be freely given. Instead, do what only a man of discipline and power can do. Turn and walk away. Walk away without resentment. Walk away without words. Walk away knowing that by choosing yourself, you have already won. Because a man of wisdom does not waste time chasing those who do not see his worth. He builds a life so valuable, so rich with purpose, that those who ignored him will one day regret it. And by then, he will be too far ahead to hear their cries. 3. My ex who used to do that. A man who values himself does not compete with ghosts. He does not live in the shadows of those who came before him, nor does he accept being compared to the past. When a woman constantly brings up her ex, when she measures you against another man, she is doing more than just reminiscing. She is undermining your place in her life. At first, you may think nothing of it. Perhaps she is simply being honest about her past. Maybe she is still processing old wounds. But as time passes, you start to notice the pattern. Every mistake you make is followed by a comparison. Every moment of connection is weighed against someone else. She is not looking at you for who you are. She is holding you to the standard of another man. A man who has mastered himself does not allow his value to be dictated by another person's past. He knows that the only measure of his worth is his own discipline, his own growth, his own character. He does not tolerate being used as a tool to relive old memories or fix wounds he did not cause. A woman who constantly speaks of her ex has not left that chapter behind. She may say she has moved on, but her words reveal the truth. If she still carries him in her mind, in her comparisons, in the way she sees you, then you are not building something new. You are merely continuing a story that should have ended. And a man of power does not live in someone else's unfinished book. You may think that with enough patience, she will forget. That if you prove yourself, if you become better, she will stop looking back. But that is an illusion. No matter how much you give, she will always compare. And even if you exceed her expectations, even if you surpass the image of the man before you, she will never truly see you. Because you were never meant to be seen. You were only meant to fill a space. A strong man does not fight for a position that should already be his. He does not compete for a place in a woman's heart when it should have been freely given. The one who constantly brings up the past is trapped in it. She is not looking for love. She is looking for a replica. And a man who respects himself will never allow that. A woman who values you will never make you feel like you are in competition with another man. She will not use the past as a weapon to control you, to manipulate you, to make you feel inadequate. She will understand that the relationship you build together is sacred, untouchable by old flames and old wounds. If she does not understand this, if she constantly reminds you of what her ex did, what he said, how he made her feel, she is telling you that you are nothing but a reflection of someone else. A man of wisdom knows that he doesn't belong in another man's shadow. He does not argue. He does not try to prove his worth against memories that do not belong to him. He sees the truth, and he acts accordingly. And the truth is simple. A man of strength does not stay where he is compared to another. He does not beg for recognition. He does not fight for validation. He does not try to erase someone else's imprint on a woman's heart. Instead, he walks away, not in anger, not in frustration, but in absolute certainty that his value is not up for debate. A man who truly understands himself knows that he deserves a partner who sees him, not a woman who is still looking over her shoulder. And so, without hesitation, without regret, he chooses himself. Because a man of power does not fight for space in another man's story. He writes his own. He does not settle for someone who is still living in the past. He does not lower himself to convince someone to appreciate him. He moves forward, leaving behind anything or anyone who fails to see his worth. There is a difference between understanding a person's past and being forced to compete with it. If a woman still holds on to her ex, still compares you to him, still keeps his name alive in conversations, she has already shown you that her heart is divided. A man who has mastered himself never accepts half measures. He does not settle for a woman who is unsure, nor does he tolerate being weighed against another. The strongest men, the men who carve their own destiny, do not waste time proving themselves to those who cannot see their worth. They walk away, not because they are weak, but because they know that their value is not something to be debated. And when that woman finally realizes what she has lost, when she turns around to find that he is no longer there, it will be too late. Not because he wanted revenge, not because he wanted to prove a point, but because he had already built a future so strong, so full, that looking back was never an option. A man of power does not wait for someone to recognize his worth. He recognizes it himself. And that is why he never competes with another man's memory. Instead, he forges his own legacy. 4. It's your fault. A man of discipline and wisdom does not waste his energy defending himself against false accusations. He does not carry the burden of another person's irresponsibility, nor does he accept blame for things beyond his control. But there are those who will try to twist reality, those who will shift the weight of their own mistakes onto your shoulders, hoping you will carry it for them. When a woman constantly tells you, "It's your fault," she is not just arguing, she is manipulating. She is refusing to take responsibility for her actions, choosing instead to place the blame on you. At first, it might seem like she is just frustrated, that she is reacting emotionally in the heat of the moment. But soon, you will notice the pattern. No matter what happens, it is never her doing. If she is upset, it's because of something you said. If she fails, it's because you didn't support her enough. If something goes wrong, it's because you didn't handle it the way she expected. A strong man recognizes this for what it is: control through guilt. When a person refuses to own their mistakes, they will make you believe that everything is your fault. They will twist events, rewrite history, and reshape the narrative to always position themselves as the victim and you as the villain. And if you are not careful, you will start to believe it. You will begin to question yourself, wondering if you really are the problem. You will change your behavior, not because you did something wrong, but because you are trying to avoid another accusation. You will start walking on eggshells, measuring every word, controlling every action, hoping to prevent another outburst of blame. But no matter how much you adjust, no matter how careful you are, it will never be enough. Because it was never about what you did. It was always about control. A man who respects himself does not entertain endless debates over his own integrity. He does not waste his time proving himself to someone who refuses to see the truth. He understands that responsibility is not something that can be forced onto him by another person's unwillingness to face reality. When someone truly values you, they will own their actions. They will admit their faults, correct their mistakes, and grow alongside you. They will not use blame as a weapon, nor will they expect you to shoulder the weight of their failures. If a woman constantly tells you, "It's your fault," She is showing you that she doesn't want a partner. She wants a scapegoat, and a man of power does not accept that role. He does not argue. He does not try to prove his innocence. He does not fight against the endless cycle of accusations. He sees the truth and he walks away, not in anger, not in frustration, but in absolute certainty that his worth is not determined by another person's inability to take responsibility. A strong man does not allow himself to be emotionally blackmailed. He does not accept the burden of another's guilt, nor does he allow himself to be manipulated into believing he is the cause of every problem. He understands that a relationship should be built on mutual accountability, where both partners own their actions and work together to improve. But when one person refuses to grow, when they hide behind blame and accusations, the relationship becomes toxic. A relationship filled with blame is like a house built on sand. No matter how much effort you put in, it will always collapse under the weight of dishonesty and irresponsibility. A woman who constantly shifts the blame onto you is not interested in building something real. She's only interested in protecting her own ego. And a man who truly values himself knows that he cannot stay where he is constantly made to feel like he is the problem. Because the truth is simple. A man who is constantly blamed for everything will eventually believe it. And once he does, he loses himself. So he does the only thing a man of wisdom can do. He walks away, not because he is running, not because he is afraid, but because he refuses to engage in a battle that should not exist in the first place. Because a man of discipline knows this. The one who always blames others will never change. And a man who refuses to be blamed for what he did not do will never allow himself to be trapped in a cycle of endless guilt. He moves forward, free from the weight of false accusations, knowing that his life is too valuable to waste on someone who refuses to take responsibility. A man of strength does not defend himself against lies. He simply removes himself from those who tell them. And by the time she realizes what she lost, by the time she looks around and sees that you are no longer there, it will be too late. Not because you wanted to teach her a lesson, not because you wanted revenge, but because by then, you will be too focused on your own journey to ever look back. A man who values himself does not seek validation from those who refuse to see the truth. He does not try to fix what is already broken. He does not sacrifice his peace to prove himself to someone who will never take responsibility. He walks away, knowing that his time, his energy, and his life are far too valuable to waste on someone who cannot stand beside him as an equal. And once he does, he never looks back. 5. Why are you so sensitive? A man who has mastered himself understands that emotions aren't the enemy. Losing control over them is. But there are those who will try to convince you that feeling anything at all is a weakness. They will mock your reactions, belittle your concerns, and make you question your own judgment. When a woman tells you, "Why are you so sensitive?" she is not offering you wisdom. She is dismissing your reality. She is trying to make you believe that your concerns, your instincts, your very perception of the situation are invalid. And once you start questioning yourself, you're no longer in control. At first, it may seem harmless. Maybe she says it jokingly, brushing off something you took seriously. Maybe she makes you feel like you're overreacting, like you are the only one who sees a problem. But over time, you begin to notice a pattern. Every time you express a boundary, every time you stand up for yourself, every time you voice an issue, she diminishes it. And when someone dismisses your feelings long enough, you start to do it too. A man without discipline will start doubting himself. He will suppress his instincts. He will tell himself that his emotions are flawed, that he shouldn't trust his own reactions. He will become silent, choosing not to speak rather than risk being labeled too sensitive. And this is exactly what she wants. Because when a man stops trusting his own judgment, he becomes easy to control. A strong man knows that emotions, when mastered, are a source of power. They allow him to navigate the world with clarity, to recognize danger before it strikes, to understand the weight of his own experiences. But a woman who wants control over you will not see your emotions as strength. She will see them as something to be ridiculed. Mockery is a tool of manipulation. It is designed to make you doubt yourself, to strip away your confidence, to force you into silence. A woman who values you will never use mockery as a way to dismiss your concerns. She will listen. She will understand. She will respect the way you think and feel. A woman who belittles your emotions is telling you exactly who she is. She's telling you that she will not take your concerns seriously, that she will dismiss your boundaries, that she will use mockery to silence you rather than engage in real understanding. And a man of wisdom knows that where there is no respect, there can be no trust. A relationship built on mockery is not a relationship. It is a slow erosion of your self-worth. A woman who cannot respect the way you feel will never respect the way you think. And a woman who does not respect your thoughts will never respect you as a man. So the choice is simple. You can stay and allow yourself to be chipped away, piece by piece, until you are nothing more than a shell of the man you once were. Or you can recognize the truth for what it is and walk away. A strong man does not beg to be understood. He does not tolerate being mocked for his perspective. He does not stay where his feelings are treated as a burden. He knows that true strength is not the absence of emotion, but the ability to control it. A man of power does not let his emotions rule him, but neither does he allow anyone to convince him that feeling something is a weakness. A disciplined man does not suppress his instincts. He hones them. He does not deny his emotions. He understands them. And he does not waste his time proving his thoughts and feelings to someone who refuses to listen. A woman who truly values you will never use your emotions against you. She will not dismiss your concerns, nor will she make you feel small for having them. She will recognize your strength, not just in your actions, but in your ability to think, to feel, to perceive the world around you. If she cannot do that, then she does not deserve you. So you walk away, not in anger, not in frustration, but in absolute certainty that your worth is not something to be debated. And when you do not look back, because a man of strength does not stay where he is not respected. And he never apologizes for being aware, for being disciplined, for feeling deeply while remaining in control. He moves forward, knowing that his value does not decrease simply because someone else refuses to see it. And that is why he never stays in a place where he is told he is too sensitive. Instead, he walks away with quiet power, leaving behind those who never deserved him in the first place. 6. I have no one else. A man of discipline and wisdom understands that love should be a choice, not an obligation. When a woman tells you, "I have no one else," she is not expressing devotion. She is setting a trap. She is telling you that you are not with her because of mutual respect, trust, or admiration, but because she has placed all her emotional weight on you. At first, it may sound innocent, even endearing. She might say it with sadness, making you feel like you are her only support, the only one who truly understands her. But soon, you will notice a pattern. Every disagreement becomes a guilt trip. Every attempt to set a boundary is met with emotional blackmail. She does not want a partner, she wants a savior. A strong man does not fall for this illusion. A relationship should be built on two independent individuals choosing to walk together. But a woman who constantly reminds you that she has no one else is not offering love. She is demanding emotional servitude. She expects you to take on the weight of her fears, insecurities, and struggles, and if you ever try to step back, she will remind you that without you, she is alone. And this is how control begins, not through force, but through dependence. A man who lacks self-awareness will believe that it is his duty to stay, to be the anchor she clings to. He will ignore his own needs, his own goals, his own well-being, because he feels responsible for hers. He will convince himself that walking away would make him a bad person. But a man who has mastered himself knows better. He knows that it is not his job to fix someone who refuses to stand on their own. He knows that true love does not come from desperation, but from strength. When a woman says, "I have no one else," what she often means is, "I refuse to take responsibility for my own emotional well-being, so I am making it your job." This is not love. This is not partnership. This is a slow, draining surrender of your energy and independence. A woman who truly values you will never make you feel like leaving, would destroy her. She will never use loneliness as a weapon to make you stay. She will not place the burden of her happiness on your shoulders. If she does, then she is not looking for a partner. She is looking for a crutch. And a man of power does not allow himself to be used in this way. A relationship should be a source of strength, not exhaustion. A woman who constantly tells you that she had no one else is showing you that she sees you as her only option, not her best choice. And a man of discipline never allows himself to be someone's only option. He knows that his time, energy, and presence are valuable. He does not waste them on someone who refuses to take control of their own life. He does not stay in a situation where his presence is demanded rather than appreciated. A woman who genuinely loves you will never want you to feel trapped. She will want you to be there because you choose to be, not because you feel guilty. She will respect your freedom just as she expects you to respect hers. But a woman who constantly reminds you that she has no one else, she does not respect your freedom, she fears it. She knows that if you ever realized your own power, if you ever understood that you do not have to stay, she would lose the control she has over you. And that is why she uses guilt. That is why she makes you feel responsible for her happiness. But a man of wisdom knows that he is not responsible for anyone's happiness except his own. So he does what only a strong man can do. He walks away, not because he is heartless, not because he does not care, but because he understands that love, when built on guilt, is not love at all. And when he leaves, he does not look back, because a man of power never stays where he is only valued for what he provides, rather than who he is. A weak man stays out of guilt. A strong man walks away out of self-respect. If she truly cared for you, she would never make you feel like you owe her your presence. A woman who cannot stand alone will always drag you down with her. But a man who has mastered himself does not let anyone pull him into weakness. He recognizes the game being played, the game of control, disguised as vulnerability. The moment you allow yourself to feel responsible for her happiness, you have lost. Because the day will come when no matter what you do, it will never be enough. She will always need more reassurance, more sacrifice, more of you. And piece by piece, you will give yourself away until there is nothing left. And when that day comes, you will look in the mirror and realize that you are no longer the man you once were. You will see the exhaustion in your own eyes, the weight of someone else's problems crushing your shoulders, and she will still say, "I have no one else." That is when you must make the choice. Stay and lose yourself, or walk away and reclaim your power. A man of strength chooses himself, not because he is selfish, but because he knows that true love is never a chain. True love does not come from desperation, but from two people who are already whole, walking together by choice. So he moves forward, leaving behind those who never deserved him in the first place. And by the time she realizes what she has lost, by the time she understands that he was never hers to control, it will be too late, because by then, he will be too focused on his own journey to ever look back. 7. It was nothing serious. A man who values himself does not entertain disrespect. He does not tolerate half-truths, blurred lines, or manipulations disguised as innocence. When a woman tells you it was nothing serious, she is not being honest. She is testing you. She is watching how you react, how much you will tolerate, how far she can push before you push back. At first, it may seem insignificant. Maybe she was texting someone late at night. Maybe she was overly friendly with another man. Maybe she allowed a boundary to be crossed, but quickly dismissed it, assuring you that it was harmless. She will look you in the eyes and tell you that you are overthinking, that you are too controlling, that it was nothing serious. But a strong man sees beyond words. A woman who respects you, who values the relationship, will never put herself in a position where she has to defend questionable behavior. She will not allow situations to arise where you feel the need to question her loyalty. She will not treat the bond you share as something flexible, something to be tested, something she can risk losing just for a fleeting moment of attention from someone else. A man who lacks self-respect will ignore the signs. He will convince himself that maybe she's right, maybe he is overreacting. He will suppress the feeling in his gut that tells him something is wrong. He will accept her excuses, dismiss his own judgment, and in doing so, he will hand over his power. And the moment a man ignores his instincts, he's lost. A woman who truly loves you will never make you doubt her loyalty. She will understand that trust is not built through words, but through actions. She will know that respect is not just about what she says. It's about what she chooses to do when you're not around. But a woman who tells you it was nothing serious is revealing something deeper. She is showing you that she does not take your commitment seriously. She is telling you that she values her own pleasures, her own validation, her own sense of excitement, more than she values the foundation you are trying to build. A man of discipline does not argue with dishonesty. He does not waste his breath debating what is obvious. He does not beg for the bare minimum. Loyalty, honesty, and respect should not have to be demanded. They should be given freely. If you have to ask for commitment, if you have to remind someone to be faithful, if you have to wonder whether or not you are being played for a fool, then you already have your answer. A weak man stays, hoping things will change. A strong man walks away, knowing they won't. Because a man of wisdom understands that the woman who says, "It was nothing serious," today, will be the same woman who says, "It didn't mean anything" tomorrow. And soon, it was just a mistake. A man who has mastered himself does not ignore reality for the sake of comfort. He does not let sweet words blind him to bitter truths. If a woman is willing to jeopardize the relationship, no matter how small the act, she has already made a choice. And a man of power does not stay where he is chosen second. When a man respects himself, he does not need to prove his worth to someone who fails to recognize it. He does not cling to a situation that forces him to question his own judgment. He does not tolerate being made to feel like his standards are unreasonable. A woman who truly loves you will never put herself in a position where she has to defend her actions. She will not seek validation outside the relationship. She will not risk losing a man of value for the sake of temporary attention. If she does, She has already shown you exactly how much you mean to her. And when a man of strength sees the truth, he does not hesitate. He does not second-guess himself. He does not plead. He does not beg. He does not lower himself to conversations that should never have to take place. He simply walks away, not because he is insecure, not because he is afraid of being hurt, but because he understands that love is either built on trust or it is not built at all. And when he walks away, he does not look back, because a man of power knows that once a woman disrespects the relationship, once she plays games with his trust, once she crosses the line and says, "It was nothing serious," it is already over. And a man who truly values himself never stays in something that is already broken. 8. You're being too sensitive. A man who has mastered himself knows that emotions, when controlled, are a source of wisdom. They guide him, sharpen his instincts, and allow him to perceive the world with clarity. But there are those who will attempt to twist this strength into weakness, to make him doubt his own judgment, to convince him that what he sees, what he feels, and what he knows is not real. When a woman tells you, "You're being too sensitive," she is not giving you advice. She is manipulating your perception. She is dismissing your reaction, not because it is invalid, but because it is inconvenient for her. She is not offering wisdom. She is conditioning you to ignore your own instincts. At first, it might seem small. You raise a concern, and she brushes it off. You point out disrespect, and she tells you it wasn't a big deal. You express a boundary, and she rolls her eyes, saying you're overreacting. And if you are not careful, you will begin to believe her. A man without discipline will second-guess himself. He will start to wonder if maybe he is being too sensitive. He will suppress his instincts, silence his concerns, and choose peace over confrontation. But this is not peace. It is submission. And the moment a man stops trusting himself, he becomes easy to control. The reason this tactic works so well is that it plays on a man's natural desire to be strong. No man wants to be seen as weak, overly emotional, or irrational. She knows this, and she uses it against you. She makes you feel like speaking up is childish, like feeling disrespected is a flaw, like calling out bad behavior is excessive. She wants you to question yourself, to hesitate before responding, to lower your standards so that she doesn't have to raise hers. A woman who respects you will not dismiss your emotions. She will not make you feel like your concerns are imaginary. She will listen, understand, and adjust her actions because she values your perspective. But a woman who constantly tells you, "You're too sensitive," is not interested in understanding. She is interested in avoiding responsibility. This is not about emotions. This is about control. A strong man does not tolerate manipulation, disguised as advice. He does not allow his instincts to be overwritten by someone who seeks to weaken him. He does not sit in silence while his boundaries are dismissed, his reality denied, and his concerns ridiculed. When a woman repeatedly tells you that you are too sensitive, she is testing you. She is seeing if you will fold, if you will accept her narrative over your own, if you will let her reshape your reality so that she never has to be held accountable. A weak man argues. He tries to explain himself, to prove that his emotions are justified, to convince her that his perspective is valid. But a strong man does not need permission to trust himself. He does not seek validation for what he already knows. He does not waste time debating his own reality with someone who refuses to respect it. This is how control begins, not with chains but with doubt. The moment you allow someone to redefine what is real for you, to tell you that what you feel is wrong, you have already lost. You become a prisoner in your own mind, questioning everything, hesitant to speak, afraid of being labeled too sensitive again. And when that happens, you are no longer leading the relationship. You are being led. A relationship built on dismissal and gaslighting is not a relationship. It is a slow erosion of self-worth. A woman who truly values you will never use shame to silence you. She will never make you feel like your emotions are a burden. She will never attempt to twist your perception to suit her convenience. If she does, then she has already shown you who she is. And a man of wisdom does not stay where he is not respected. So he does not argue. He does not explain. He does not beg for understanding. He simply sees the game for what it is, and he walks away. Not because he is weak, not because he cannot handle emotions, but because he understands that the moment he starts doubting himself, the moment he allows someone else to redefine his reality, he has already lost. A man of strength does not stay in a place where his instincts are ignored. He does not tolerate being made to feel small for recognizing the truth. He does not waste time convincing someone to respect his emotions. He moves forward, knowing that his ability to perceive, to feel, to understand is a power, not a flaw. And when he walks away, he does not look back, because a man of power knows that once he starts questioning his own judgment, once he allows someone to make him feel weak for trusting himself, he has already surrendered his strength. And a man who truly values himself never surrenders his strength to anyone. 9. Obey me. A man of discipline and strength does not submit to control. He does not bend to the will of another, nor does he sacrifice his autonomy for the sake of fleeting approval. When a woman tells you, "Obey me," whether directly or indirectly, she is not asking for respect. She is demanding submission. At first, it may seem harmless. Maybe she frames it as a joke, a playful test of your willingness to please her. Maybe she words it carefully, saying that if you really cared, you would do things her way. Maybe she does not say it at all, but you feel the expectation in the way she looks at you, in the way she reacts when you stand your ground. But a strong man sees beyond words. A woman who values you will never seek to control you. She will never measure love in terms of obedience. She will never treat the relationship as a throne from which she rules and you serve. A man who lacks self-awareness will fail to see the trap. He will think that if he listens, if he follows, if he gives her what she demands, she will be happy. He will tell himself that compromise is necessary, that submission is just part of making things work. But this is not compromise. This is a slow surrender of self-respect. And the moment a man sacrifices his power to please another, he ceases to be respected. A woman who demands obedience does not want a partner. She wants control. She does not seek love. She seeks dominance. She does not ask for understanding. She expects compliance. A weak man will justify his obedience. He will say that he is simply keeping the peace, that it is easier to follow than to fight. He will convince himself that giving in is a small price to pay for harmony. But true harmony does not come from submission. It comes from mutual respect. When a woman demands that you obey her, she's not making a request. She is setting the stage for control. Today it is something small, a demand disguised as a suggestion, a request coated in sweetness. But tomorrow, it will be something more. A test to see how far she can push, a challenge to see how much you will break. Each time you submit, she will demand more, not because she needs it, but because she wants to see if she can take it. A woman who truly values you will never want you to obey. She will want you to stand beside her as an equal. She will not ask you to compromise your strength for her comfort. She will not expect you to follow her blindly. She will not see the relationship as a game of power, where one must lead and the other must follow. But a woman who says, "Obey me," is revealing her nature. She does not respect you. She does not see you as a man of value, but as someone to be controlled. And if you allow it, if you let yourself be led, if you lower yourself into the position of a servant rather than a man, she will never look at you the same way again. The strongest men are not the ones who dominate others, nor the ones who submit to them. They are the ones who walk their own path, who do not need permission to be who they are, who do not allow themselves to be controlled by emotions or by force. A man who bows to no one is not rebellious, he is free. A strong man does not entertain this dynamic. He does not argue, does not fight, does not explain why he will not obey. He simply refuses. He makes his position clear, not with words, but with action. If she cannot respect him without control, then she does not deserve his presence. And a man of wisdom never stays where he is not respected. So he does not negotiate. He does not try to prove himself. He does not seek permission to be the man he was meant to be. He walks away, not because he is stubborn, not because he is afraid of commitment, but because he knows that a relationship built on control is not a relationship. It is a cage. And a man of strength is never caged. When he walks away, he does not look back, because a man of power does not obey. He leads. Pattavadu ni prachanai seigirai. A man of wisdom does not react to baseless accusations. He does not defend himself against lies, nor does he seek validation from those who refuse to trust him. When a woman accuses you of cheating without cause, she is not expressing concern. She is revealing her own insecurities, her own guilt, or her own intent to control you. At first, it may seem like paranoia, a harmless fear rooted in past experiences. She may tell you that she was betrayed before, that she has trust issues, that she just needs reassurance. You will think that if you prove your loyalty, if you explain yourself enough times, if you are patient, she will eventually trust you. But a strong man sees the game for what it is. A woman who constantly accuses you of cheating without proof is not just projecting her fears, she is testing you. She is seeing how much control she has over you, how quickly you will fall into the trap of explaining yourself, how much of your time and energy she can demand in her endless cycle of suspicion. A man who lacks self-awareness will fall into this trap. He will feel the need to defend himself, to account for every minute of his time, to prove over and over again that he is faithful. He will adjust his behavior, avoid harmless interactions, change his routines, not because he has done anything wrong, but because he wants to avoid the next accusation. And once you start explaining yourself for things you never did, you have already lost. A woman who falsely accuses you does not trust you. And where there is no trust, there is no relationship. A strong man does not waste his breath defending himself against lies. He does not argue with someone who has already decided that he is guilty. He does not tolerate being treated as a suspect when he has done nothing wrong, because he knows the truth. When someone constantly accuses you of something, it is often because they are guilty of it themselves. A woman who cheats will suspect that you are cheating. A woman who is disloyal will assume that you are the same. A woman who plays games will believe that you are playing them too. And even if she is not guilty, her constant suspicion is a form of control. She wants you to fear her accusations, to change your behavior so that she never has a reason to be suspicious, to put your energy into proving your loyalty rather than simply being loyal. But a man of discipline doesn't play this game. A woman who values you will never make you feel like you are constantly on trial. She will not turn every conversation into an interrogation. She will not make you prove something that should be obvious through your actions. If she truly trusted you, she would not need to accuse you. If she truly respected you, she would not treat you like a liar. A weak man will stay hoping that one day she will stop doubting him. A strong man will recognize that trust is not something that needs to be proven every single day. It is something that should be given until there is a real reason to take it away. And a man who respects himself does not stay where he is not trusted. So he does not argue. He does not explain. He does not play defense against accusations that have no foundation. He simply understands that without trust, there is nothing, and he walks away. Not because he is guilty, not because he is afraid, but because he refuses to be in a relationship where he is treated like a criminal instead of a partner. And when he leaves, he does not look back, because a man of power does not stay where he is constantly questioned. He stays where he is valued, respected, and trusted. A truly strong man is not someone who never makes mistakes, but someone who recognizes his own value and refuses to let anyone diminish it. In life, you will encounter people who try to control you, manipulate you, weaken your sense of self-worth, and make you forget the power you hold within. But a disciplined man does not argue with disrespect. He does not stay in places that make him question his own worth. He does not seek approval from those who do not appreciate him. He observes, recognizes the signs, and takes action, not out of anger, but out of absolute control over his own life. Remember, your life is yours, and you have the right to choose who is worthy of walking alongside you. When you learn to walk away without hesitation, without regret, you not only protect yourself, you become a symbol of inner strength that no one can shake.